That's it.
All right, you live.
All right, so testing. Just making sure testing and make sure everything in our game, making sure the live, coming. Um, all right, let's click it here. All right, when I get here. All right, so so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. We see double and say apostles and elders agree most in the rule well, our teachers are apostles in the truth, and we see salutation solely accompanies push on truth and say in and day out, constantly in season or season we say Shalom. Once again, the share the brother say going into our topic, and the topic going to go into is Gentiles. You understand? Because plenty people have a misconception, a wrong teaching, a wrong doctrine when it comes to Gentiles and who the Gentiles are, or which one side of the Gentiles are. You understand? They try to base Gentiles as being heathens. You understand? So in other words, they try to make the heathens come into what to get the blessings, to come in to get to be saved, to come in to get the usage of the Lord. When it's not so, right? When it's not so. They don't look up the word, they don't look up the meaning of the word Gentile. You understand? They even go into some of the scriptures that mention that the Lord come to destroy the Gentiles and so forth. But I can remember I remember a time me and an ex brother, we're not here no more, right? I even think I should call him my brother, but our ex person. Remember we was cutting up somebody, right? A Christian. And the person went to the Gentiles and was bringing on the Gentiles. And I remember going to the book of Jeremiah. I think it was Jeremiah 7 or somewhere along those lines, or 4:7, where it mentioned that the Lord he come to the destroyer the Gentiles, right? And I remember when I brought out that and I was like, okay, so they're calling themselves a Gentile, so then the Lord come to destroy you. And the person was like, but uh, uh, they freeze. And they come back and say, but you now say that to Gentiles, so I must be on the next side. So no, you see now they want to now now the doctrine change. Now they know it are two different it are two different sets of Gentiles. Now all of a sudden you want to be, but nonetheless, as we see before, just the word Gentiles and the teaching of the Gentiles, especially how the churches teach it off. Because again, what they will try to do is that they want to incorporate everybody into being saved. They want to bring the heathens to saying Gentiles and so forth, being saved, try to bring them in to get the blessings and so forth when it's not so, right? Got that?
Yeah, so the Lord know about, all nations coming together, the Lord know about that.
That's right.
That all Israel had to come together, with these nations, as one people. No. The Lord didn't do that from the beginning, and He's not gonna do it now.
That's right.
Right? So you see, these churches, they're ignorant, concerning the word, the word of prophecy, because the scripture say, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there's no light in
Because there's
them,
no
and
light
you
in
will
them.
see that
Can.
these churches today, they don't have that light, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge, they don't have that wisdom, because where they learn from? They learn from Esau, Edom, I was watching a little video today concerning, like, the school system and thing, with a program, you know, that being a part of the school, the teachers them can't teach certain things because under the government that they teach, what the government say,
The curriculum.
and same thing with the churches, that they teach where the government say what they say, they can't go and teach certain things to say, hey, salvation is just only for the Israelites alone. Then Esau gonna lose, he gonna lose money because
That's right.
he gain money by lying to these people to say salvation is for anyone that believe on him, because these heathens and them, if them really know that, it has no salvation for them, they ain't gonna be in these churches, making offerings and paying tithes and, paying big donation in church, knowing that there's no salvation for them. So he sort of use that deception, this man, he's really the devil. And he make all nations drink the wine of fornication. Right? What the scripture say, if you could get a scripture, and I think it's in Isaiah 65:6 or something.
If I can say something quick, pertaining to what you
Go
just
ahead.
say about the school system, you'll see that with that school system concept, it was simple to like similar to what like the Willie Lynch used to do in the past. You can remember in Willie Lynch time, they didn't like any educators of their own people actually teaching the slaves and them. They had a particular doctrine they used to teach the slaves pertaining to how they wanted them to think. So when the
Yeah.
time come now that they incorporate things like the school system, remember a lot of the things that they teach in schools are lies. You understand? But they teach that why? Because that is the mindset they want the people to be in to be able to control them. Because they say if you control the next generation, you control the future. So that is why they take the children, that's why they take the father out of the house, put the mother to work, you understand, and they make sure and take the children out of the house and into their program system, whereas they could groom them how they want them to be. And you see that
Yeah.
even today when they're teaching children about Jack and John and Adam and Steve and all this kind of wickedness. You understand? All of that, all lies according to their structure that they want to indoctrinate them in. You know, that's
Yeah.
pertaining to what you were saying.
Yeah. Forget Isaiah 49:6.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 6, right? Right. Verse 6. They say here, and now, no, Salah. They say, and he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant and raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserve of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Yeah, so there's a precept, where the churches them just go off, Christianity that just go off when they hear that word Gentiles. Now the brother was saying, there were two set of Gentiles, the heathen nations and the Israelite foreigners. What?
I hear a slight echo. I don't know if how bad it see when Cora talk, I hear a slight echo on the anything. I know how bad it is to really see if it go have a big back feed, and that's what I say.
Check your pull off your headset app and push it back in if you're using a headset.
No, I was saying before. I was saying even before.
No, Cora talking to. Cora talking.
I know headset. I know headset.
I know headset. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna check the stream to make sure it didn't give enough feedback.
Because remember when we do the first one, nobody wasn't hearing me properly now, so I want to make sure I could hear him now.
Go down talk, Cora. Go down talk.
Yeah, so the churches and them just go off when they hear that word Gentile, right? But when you go into the Septuagint, that word Gentile, right, it goes back to the word diaspora. Where they say, diaspora as scattering a dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations, right? Where the scripture say in Deuteronomy 28 verse 25, you see, and the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. Right? So they was scattered to the four corners of the earth. Diaspora. Right? So that word Gentile goes back to the diaspora, which are the scattering of Israelites in foreign countries. Right? These are the people who was grafted back into the covenants, not the heathen nations. And they understanding where these churches them do have. They do have that light. They do have that.
Yeah. And you also are the when you think the word Gentile also mean a Greek speaking Jew. You understand? And there's something plenty of these churches they fail to realize is that it's speaking somebody when you see Gentile is speaking about it's speaking about Israel, it's speaking about Jacob. Right, as the brother says, as the brother diaspora, them that would be was scattered, you understand? Because we scattered to the four corners of the earth, you understand? And we would obviously do what? We would pick up the customs of where we scattered about. We're not supposed to, but we would. In Jake, they would do what? They would follow the customs. They would pick up the trends. They would wear the clothes of who the hidden. You understand? That is what they would do, right? Where that?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Say you say it's John 7 verse 35, right? It say then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go? It say that we shall not find him. It say, will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles to teach the Gentiles? You understand? And when you go into the etymology of the word Gentile, right? The etymology is Helen or Hellene, which means the Hellenese. If you're going to the actual history of it, the Hellenese was what? It's a definition one. It's a Greek by nationality, whether a nation of the mainland or of a Greek islands or colonies, right? So it's like, say my next definition is say in the wider sense of the name embraces all nations. They say not Jews that made the language, but when you go into the history, when you go into the Maccabees and so forth, when you know that some of the people were forced into the customs of the heathens, and then others willfully went and joined. So like here, other willfully went and joined. When you go into history, you know the Hellenese or the Hellenized, or the ones that abandoned their own customs according to the Jewish customs in the customs of Israel, and they went to actually serve and took on the customs of the heathens. If I could bring that quick in if I could bring that quick in the Maccabees, right? Because that is a part of history. And that's why it's also good to know things like this in history. Why? Because it have like when it's searching certain things, sometimes like definitions and things. Sometimes it is put certain things in a technical way that just had to pick the meat from the bone, so to speak. You understand? If you actually do have the understanding of it, you would know which one is the correct one to choose. Right? So there's First Maccabees 1. I'll start from verse 11, right? Which is a common precept brothers use. They say in those days when they're out of Israel, wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. They say, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? And this was the mindset of this today. Even today, there's the mindset of a lot of our people. They just depart from the Lord and his customs. Why? Because it grievous unto them. They prefer to live according to the customs of the heathen because I let them it more pleasurable to their personal life, whatever the case may be. Right? See verse 12, it says, so this device pleased them well. It said, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenants, and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. And that is the process of being Hellenized. We actually depart from your own customs and follow the customs of the heathens, right? That way they talk about the Greek speaking Jews, those were the Hellenized, right? And it wasn't actually actual Jews by descent wasn't Greeks by descendancy lineage, which is Edomites. It wasn't that. It was our people who were living amongst them, following their customs, you know, and even according to the law, if somebody was living like that and they didn't want to they didn't want to accept the ordinances of the Lord and so forth, they would be cast out as a heathen, so to speak, right? As a
Okay.
Gentile, which your word says.
Yeah, even with Cornelius, because back then, you know, these these Romans and them, there wasn't just recruiting men, you know, from just you know, their nations, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they was recruiting, you know, other people too, you know, with the centurions to the them police, you know. So just like today, you know, in Esau military, it had Chinese, Czechs, you know, same thing was happening back then. You know, so Jakes, who was in their land, you know, he was, you know, a citizens, you know, he was in the centurion's band, just as Cornelius, you know, but he was Israel, he is Israelite, right? These are the people, you know, who was dispersed, you know, who wasn't born in the land, because the scripture say in, I think it's in Exodus 12, Exodus 12:49. He said, one law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth amongst you,
Okay.
who wasn't born in the land. You know, so these men them used to come to Jerusalem to worship because they know there was Israelites. You know, in that you know, he calling themselves, you know, a Greeks and these things, they know there was Israelites, you know. And the apostles them they didn't know because Yahushua sent them, you know, unto them. Right? That when we read James 1:1, 1 Peter 1:1, he talk about them, the Israelites.
I was not going to bring the first Peter.
So go ahead, Najee.
It's First Peter chapter 1, verse 1. It says, Peter, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. You know, if it's, as you can see, it mentions certain places. You mentioned even Asia, right? It mentioned Galatia and all these places showing that Israel, right? Israel was scattered, right? You call them, you call them what? Gentiles. Some would say strangers. I did mention it. Peter, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, you know, to the strangers. That wasn't speaking about heathens. That was actually speaking about Israel that scattered. And they will be mixed up amongst these people. They mixed up amongst the rest of the nations. You understand?
Yeah, because when you read that Exodus, when you read a few verses up, the scriptures talk about no stranger shall, you know, enter into the Passover to eat, you know, from the Passover. You know, so when you look up that word, you see two different meanings for that word stranger. Right? Because, you know, a man reading that, you know, like how these Christians just read it, you know, them will get that understanding. Right? Because the law say, you know, a stranger shall not enter, and then when you read lower down, he saying a stranger could eat from it. You know, so it's not
yeah. Now knowing it is a difference there as well. So you say me like Greek, it have two. You say me strangers, it have two as well. You understand?
Yeah.
Let me just bring a speech up here. This is Acts chapter 2. I'll read from verse 5. It says, and they were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. You understand? So it basically tell you that Jews, but it's Jews, but it's a devout men out of every nation under heaven. So yes, so they might, you know, but there's who? There's Israel. You understand? There's Israelites. Right?
If you could,
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, you know, if you could go on Google and look up the meaning of devout.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah.
Devout.
Right. So yeah, there's something that's catching, because if it's one of the things that Christians today and what they want to say is like they like to say Black Hebrew Israelites, because they're not paying that term to it, will obviously have a outlook on it. But again, if you watch me, you watch some of the brothers, we's not that they're trying to mention. No, we mix up amongst we out our body, what our parents might look like heathens, but we's Israel. You understand? We's Israel. Right? Go ahead, Ak.
And they will hear devout. It's having or showing deep religious feeling or commitments, right? Another definition, is it totally committed to a cause or belief? And when I hear that in my mind, the scripture in 2 Ezra 3, when it say, only Israel have keep thy precepts and not the heathens. You understand? Right? So it's totally committed to a cause or belief. That is devout.
All right. If you could read some of these synonyms.
because again, the heathen, they could pretend to be Israel, but by the action and so forth, you would see and you would know that there is no Jake. You understand? That is why when I watch the customs of who the so-called the Jewish people today, when you watch some of the customs they do, you know they have nothing. You know, just watching it, you know that they can never be the ones. They can never be Israel. You understand? Because some of the customs they have is like cutting off the foreskin and sucking the foreskin and all this other stuff that they just do.
Yeah,
That not there. You understand? So even though they try to pretend to be us, they are not us. They is who you would call the heathens, right? Yeah, the spirit. You understand? But I Israelite that will be mixed up amongst the heathen. His spirit will bear witness. You'll be like, yeah, you would see it. You understand?
If I can say that, and in these days, I namely the elect too. Why? Because in these times, even half of Israel who will be completely taken by the customs of the heathen. You understand? So really and truly, in this time, is the elect who would actually stand out from the rest. The Bible scriptures say what they say. If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. You understand? Because all the others they have been deceived. They're gone. As the scripture said, they revolt and gone. Are the synonyms here for you?
Go ahead.
Synonyms to devout, right? It's a constant, dedicated. It's a faithful, fast, good, loyal, right? Steadfast, right? Steady, true, right? That's some synonyms for it, right? And we know the heathens have no loyalty to the Most High. You understand?
It also say, God, I pull it up here. It also say holy, godly, saintly.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The saints of the Most High.
And who are they? The scripture say in Exodus 1:48-14, he say he also exalted the horn of his
No,
people.
Psalms.
Psalms like yeah. Psalms 1:48-14. He said he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Right? And they are also a holy people, separate. Right? The scripture say that in Deuteronomy 26.
And Deuteronomy 7:6, I think, or 4, somewhere around there.
Right? Yeah, they are holy people. Right? So when they talk about, Cornelius being that devout man, yeah, the saint of the Most High, yeah, the Israelite. Right? If I could get it in Acts 10.
Yeah. That's fine. Acts 10.
That one.
Acts 10 verse 1, right? It say there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius. It say a centurion of the band called the Italian band, right? It say a devout man and one that feared Yahweh with all his house. It say which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Yahweh always, right?
Yeah, so he was a man that feared the Most High and he keep, the law, statutes, and commandments. He saint. So he was Jake. He was Israel. Right? And he was in the band. He was a police. As Apostle Paul, he was born in that land. He was a citizen, but he say he had descendants. He had tribe of Benjamin. He had Israelite. So it's the same. As scripture say, devout men out of every nation. With Jake bring out in Acts 2. Dwelling at Jerusalem. It's still it have reference with the eunuch.
Or the Acts 8. Right? Yes. I was watching that earlier to bring out the Acts 8.
Yeah, bring it out. Acts 8.
Let me just finish this let me just finish this Acts 1 in. So Acts chapter 1, Acts chapter 2, I read off from verse, and they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noise abroad, right, it say the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. He said, and they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? They say, Parthians and Medes, they say, and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, in Pontus, and Asia, in Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and in Egypt, and in parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews, and proselytes. You understand? So it's telling it that these men was just the mix up amongst all these places. It's Asia, Egypt, Rome, but they were Jews and proselytes. You understand? But the mix, you know?
You say, I will take you from among the heathens which I have scattered you.
That's right. Where
The Acts 8. Acts 8, I'll start from 26, right? Acts 8 verse 26. It say, and the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, Arise, and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert, right? Which is desert, right? It say, and he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, an eunuch of the great, it say, of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem for to worship. Right, so just like we talk about the stranger, he wasn't living in the land, but he was a descendant of Israel living somewhere else.
Yeah. One law shall be to him that is born, and to the stranger that sojourneth among thee. You know, so there was coming, you know, to worship, you know, to keep Passover and, you know, the customs of Israel. You know, there was, you know, he coming to do that. So they know the word Israelite. You know?
And if I can say that shoulder was faithful too. Why? Because he was just as the Lord said, he was coming back to the land. He said 3 times shall all men appear before the Lord. So he was coming back to keep the customs. So you know that he was a faithful man also. You're saying go back to which one?
If you can jump back to the Acts 10 and jump to verse 22.
All right. Acts 10 verse 22. They say Acts 10:22. It say, and they said, Cornelius the centurion, a just man, and one that feareth Yahweh, and of good report. Go ahead.
You know, and that is a good point. That is a good point there when you look up that word just man. He was a just man. If you can go in the blue letter and look up that word just man. See what it say.
Just is Dikaios.
Mm-hmm.
Dikaios, right? It means righteous, observing divine law. You understand? In it say in a wide sense, upright, righteous, virtuous, keeping the commandments of God.
Keeping the commandments of Yahweh Shem Yoshai. And the scripture, and who it was given to. The scripture say that in Psalms 147 verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob. You know, these are the people, you know, who kept the law, statutes, and commandments. The Lord wasn't dealing with the other nation. You know, so he was a just man, keeping the laws of Yahweh Shem Yoshai. You know, so these are the you know the proof, you know the truth. It is the truth out there. You know, but Jake them had to come out of these harlot houses. You know, they're assembling themselves, you know, by troops into these things, and they ain't gonna learn nothing. They're just being deceived. You know, by the enemy. You know, these are the people that robbed and spoiled all your, had all in slavery. You know, cast off all pity, deal with all their fears. You think they will come to tell all the truth now? No. An enemy will always be an enemy. Scripture says, could a lion change, could a leopard change his spot? No. An enemy will always be an enemy. He ain't gonna teach all of the truth.
Our scripture
You
for
know?
idea.
Go ahead.
Based on what it's saying exactly there now. So there's the 2 Corinthians 4 verse 3 is saying, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Right?
Yeah.
You see verse 4 is saying, whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. It says, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them.
Mm. So the Most High, you know, he sent them that strong illusion. He calls that as David said, you know, let their eyes be darkened. You know, let it become a snare unto them. You know, Israel don't wanna turn back. The scripture saying Jeremiah 6 verse 16. The Lord sent out the watchmen out there, he sent out the prophets. But they refuse. They say, boy, we ain't listening to these men and them, boy. These is madmen and them, boy. We want to hear them. They say they want to hearken unto the voice of the Lord.
Done.
So let the Lord send that illusion upon them. Put them in that spirit of deep sleep. So come like, you know, them seeing A and saying B. That's why he say, you know, he will give them eyes to see what they cannot see until this day. And we seeing that in the mindset of Jake today. They have eyes to see and can't see. Right? They must see in the
They say
scriptures.
here and the car here.
Can. You know, they must see in the scriptures that, you know, it had the description of the Lord, you know, a color.
Yeah.
Right? And then would say color doesn't matter.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it don't matter. You understand? All of a sudden, it don't matter. But when the Jesus Navas, when the white man on the wall post up, it did matter at that time though. But all of a sudden, when the truth started come out, it don't matter. But the same thing with the Gentiles. Same thing with the Gentiles. The reason why Christianity is so embedded or so deep into especially that aspect of the word is because their whole doctrine is bringing in heathens into being saved. Now, when they hear the truth about who the Gentiles are and who they truly and they break down it, all of a sudden it's not important. The Gentile doctrine is not important. We don't need that. We don't need to go to that. You understand? We gotta touch that. I could stay alone, you know. That could remain there. And that goes to like many of the breakdowns, the truth, you know. When it was this lies being pushed out, it was important. But when the truth started come out now, all of a sudden, you don't need to touch upon this. You don't need to bring out that. The Lord you don't have to bring out the skin color. You don't have to bring out who the true Israelites are. You don't have to bring out who the Gentiles are and all this stuff, you know? All of a sudden, these things not important to these people.
Like I say, I go back into two big reasons. One of the reasons is because of finance. You understand? Having a lot of people believe that the Lord is actually for them and teaching them according to that pattern. A lot of people has come to fluctuate and want to give the riches, you understand, in hopes that they could be able to receive what is not for them, so to speak. You understand? So the numbers pertain to what? One of the reasons is for gain, for what they could get from it, and the second reason is for control. Because this is not the first time that the heathens use our Bible to be able to control us. And they even find ways to use it to control the other heathens too. You understand? By manipulation. So what it's about gain and it's about control. So when it is people get to find out what the truth actually is, you know, when the heads that actually profiting from it, they don't want to hear that shit. The only reason we even out here being able to talk this stuff is because the Most High put it in a way that the truth must come out. If it wasn't for that, we would be off the streets a long time. You understand? But this is the scriptures say what? It say if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it. And that is the reason why brothers could come out here. Even just what, about 2 days ago, I got strike. I went on page on them misinformation or medical misinformation, some shit. I went and appealed it. They removed the strike. Understand? So when they watched the video the first time, they didn't know that what I tell them. They're telling you, the Lord put it in a way that we have to come out here and teach these things. And He made avenues for us to do these things. Because all prophets, because we had to preach this before the Lord returned. Just like how John was preaching the way, like our Bible started off, we had to take the mantle up and preach also until the coming of the Lord. And He made avenues for us to do these things.
Okay, The Lord reserve our remnant. The Lord reserve, a portion, a small amount. It will manifest. We see it today. Let's bring out this quick precept. It is Sirach 48. Start at verse 15. He said, "For all this the people repented not, neither departed they from their sins, till they were spoiled and carried out of their land, and were scattered through all the earth. Yet there remain a small people, and a ruler in the house of David, that remnant." So they were the wood, the wood had to go out. Because the Lord preserve a small remnant to prophesy, to teach. Right? He said, "Of whom some did that which was pleasing to God." Right? Cornelius and them are just man, keeping the commandments, thing pleasing unto the Heavenly Father. And some multiplied sin. Zechariah the 13th chapter. 2 parts they all shall be cut off and die. Let the multitude perish which were born in vain. But the Lord preserve our remnant, a small amount. He said this world was created for many, but the world to come for few.
For few, yeah. As I mentioned, scattered. Let me bring this here. This is Hosea chapter 8, verse 8. It says, "Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure." So, as it says, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein there is no pleasure. So just to show you that Israel being swallowed up, right? Because we know what the nations do. You understand? You go through history and so forth. History explains itself, right? But just to show you that even the separation there between the Israelite Gentiles and the normal what should be called what? The heathen Gentiles, right? Making a clear distinction there, making a clear separation there. But we, Israel being swallowed up, right? As I say, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles. What would we do? If we are among the Gentiles, what would we do? Obviously, we would follow the idols, the customs that they do. You understand? Follow the trends, follow the stuff and so forth. And being scattered to the four corners of the earth, you're so far away from even an ounce of hearing who he is, or hearing wait till they going and follow, wait till they children, because you're not going to teach them who they truly are, right? So they're gonna your children who gonna come out, they're gonna be who? They're gonna be Jake. You understand? They're gonna be Israel. They're gonna this through the generation, they're gonna just follow what the trends of the land they're in, and the land they dwell in. You know? So I think brother bring out scatter that come to my mind.
If I could say also, I will see like one of the reasons why the Lord had to remove Israel from Egypt. Because it always had a devout section of Israel that always used to keep these things that the brothers talk about, a small sanctuary and so forth. But the majority of Israel, they always used to, unless they was actually conformed to righteousness, they always used to go a whoring and do idle things, and they used to get caught up. That's how Israel didn't even know to want a golden calf when it was in the wilderness in the first place, when they was under the mount. You understand? Because those things that they was practicing, even though they didn't know about the Messiah, those are things that they was practicing when they was in Egypt. You understand? Because they was free to be able to practice these things. And that's how majority of Greek is. Even though they might have an idea of the truth, once they are free to do the wickedness that they want to do, they doesn't contain themselves. They just want to do according to their own desires.
Yeah, because after all what the Lord do, some of them wanted to go back in Egypt.
Can.
They wanted to go back there. You know? And that precept they bring out in Maccabees when you jump down to verse 43. He say, yeah, many also of the Israelite consent to his religion and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath. They don't wanted to do, you know, these things back then. You know, the same order, you know, what the so-called white man want to do right now. Right? So when you read verse 41, he say, moreover, King Antiochus wrote in his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And the Lord is not about that. You know, we trying to, you know, to establish that, you know, TMOTB, you know, to rule all people, you know, let them come under, you know, his religion, you know, his order, his way of life. No, the Lord is not about that. The Lord coming to stop that. The Lord coming to show as spoken, basically, wrench in the engine, spoke in the wheel. These bombs gonna stop that.
He going to throw down that tower, so to speak, just like in the last Babylon. You understand? He going to do, because he's going to take it to in this Babylon.
Can.
But that is true. They said we talk about with the mark and so forth. That is same mindset that I was in the past, that all of them wanted to come together. And when you look at now, right? When you look at now, when they actually when they're coming together now, but they want to do it in a more controlled version. Because back in the past, in Tower Babel, it was everybody willingly coming together, probably under some kind of conformation. But now they want to do it, whereas they're forcing everybody to do it by the means of this thing they want to put, the scripture saying, in your hand on your forehead. You understand? It's the same the same mindset that they have, but they want to do it in a more perfected way than it was done in the past. But just as the Lord say, let's say, let us go down. The angels say, let us go down and see what it is they're doing. You understand? Same thing happening again. Say the Lord will visit the world which He made, and that is what technically going on here again. To cause the same outcome here again, the Lord going and throw down that tower.
Yeah, you're gonna throw down that. So if I can bring out that quick precept for me, Isaiah 17, start at verse 13.
Isaiah 17, verse 13, right? Isaiah 17, verse 13. It say the nations all rush like the rushing of many waters. It say, but power shall rebuke them.
Yes, with power gonna rebuke them, and the scripture say the enemy is gonna come in like a flood. Hey, Yahweh Shemeshai gonna rebuke them. Go ahead.
It say, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind.
Yeah, these chariots, you know, these laser beam. Go ahead.
It say, and behold, at evening tide, trouble, right? It say, and before the morning, he is not.
Yeah, and before morning, he is not. So he ain't going to set up, you know, to be empowered, to continue to be in that power seat. You know, he's not. Hey, he gonna be brought down low. He gonna come down low. Go ahead.
It said, this is the portion of them that spoil us. It say, and the lot of them that rob us.
Yeah, they the portion. They the portion of the sinner. The missiles. The Lord gonna shoot his missiles.
He that leads the captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword.
The Lord say when he's about to fill his belly, the Lord shall rain it upon him. So when you read them thing in different translation, it actually say missiles. Right? It actually say is the missiles that's gonna rain upon him. Right? So they know.
They know. They just don't come out and teach it because there's no money in it and there's no profit or no gain for them.
And that is the same thing, you know, if he saw, you know, he put a teach, you know, that it has no salvation for you.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna make that profit off of the people.
Nah. You see, it's easier for them to say it's better for them to sell that dream that everybody gonna get saved. You understand? That everybody gonna make it because it work. It now it's like it's that feel good doctrine. You understand? You know, and
Hey,
it sells everybody a sense of false hope. You understand?
come. That is riches gotten by deceit, That is deceit.
You see it, and
By deceit.
we know this whole place built upon what? Blood and deceit, lies. You understand? Especially Esau, lies. You know?
Yeah, they were this place built upon by Scripture in Habakkuk 2:12, They establish a city by iniquity, a
By
democracy.
iniquity. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Built upon what? Blood.
There's how this soca white man does live by, there's how this man does yeah by wickedness. So in to their eyes, it seems, the prospering. But when you look at it, the dwelling in the fatness of the earth, that was part of the blessing and these things, but it's temporal. He ain't going
Can.
on, continue forever. You're about to be thrown down. The kingdom crumbling right now,
Can.
It's some heavy sledgehammer you getting right now, shaking down the place.
I precept here.
Yeah. Good.
It said in Job 20, verse 4, right? It said, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrites but for a moment.
Yeah. The joy of the hypocrite is just for a moment, boy. A moment, the Lord said he had numbered his days that he cannot cross over.
And let's talk about the built on lies and deceit, hypocrisy, already and truly. But I was watching the other day just to say it. I want to go off a stray, but I was watching a news article about commercials, and they was showing how many commercials was being sued. Apparently, somebody sued Red Bull because they didn't get wings after they drink it. You understand? That is the kind of wickedness that is going in this place. This place was literally built on lies. It built on lies and it maintained by lies. You understand? The people on top who actually make these laws and teach these things, they don't even keep it themselves. Right? But that is the kind of system that we live in, a system of confusion and lies. That's what they call it, what? Mystery Babylon. Confusion.
The border wickedness. But the Esau know, the elites know the kingdom about to fall. They know. They're having, they're having the scrolls, they know the prophecies. But they're trying to upset it. They feel like they try to, to disannul it. But they can't. It's gonna happen. Yeah, and they're gonna see it. They're gonna see. And they're seeing right now. They're seeing the kingdom falling. That's why he's speeding up process right now. So you see. I can let's bring out this one quick. There's Psalms 112 verse 10. He said, "The wicked shall see it and be grieved. He shall garnish with his teeth and melt away." He said, "The desire of the wicked shall perish." So you're gonna see it and you're gonna be melted away. And the scripture say, "The Lord gonna melt them, which shall melt you." These missiles. When you look at the first atomic bomb in Hiroshima, when the power it had in that, and much less know, that wisdom shall increase. He saw, although wiser than Daniel, technology, that, in one bomb have about 7-8 warheads, more powerful than the first atomic bomb, and it's the Lord will put it in them, because the Father said he created the Smith. These Smith days go back to these scientists and them, that create the waster to do what? Not for ornament. The waster is not for ornament. The waster is to destroy. And one of the them bombs them the name the waster. So these bombs is not for ornament. It's not to just look pretty. No, it's just to destroy.
If I remember correctly, I think the one in Korea, I think it's named the North Wind. if I'm not mistaken. One in Korea, one in the
Northwind, Northwind.
Yeah.
They call it, I think it's Northwind or something like that they call it.
As you just say what the four winds of the earth holding the
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah, the noon. The in the noon.
But the scripture say what the Lord had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. So even though they
That's
are
right.
will, they can't stop from doing it. Just like the prophets in the past. Some of the prophets had a hard time. They used to be angry and they used to actually want to stop going out and preach. But you say it was like a fire in the mouth that they couldn't quench. You understand? No matter whether you might have knowledge about it or not, if the Most High wants you to do something, you're going to do it. whether you like it or not. Whether you had to put it in your heart to do it, or you had to do it like Jonah and lay sit down in a fish belly for a little while until they catch yourself. You understand? One way or the other, you're going and do what the Most High wants you to do.
Yeah. Can't hide from the Most High.
Can't.
You know, you could go away, you could go on top of the moon, you could go wherever. Can't hide. Can't escape.
If all anything else to bring up, because my battery in this thing here.
I want to bring out specifically what the brother was saying about them knowing that these things, because yes, you can see it in terms of the characteristics of how they operate, how they play movies and so forth. But even the scripture say it, right? There's Revelations 12 verse 12. It said, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. It said, woe to the inhabitants of the earths and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So is it not something they're not aware of? That's why they're preparing with these space stations and all these things they're doing. You understand? All these different technologies to be able to fight against the Lord, because they know that they have a short time.
Yeah. And they know they have a short time. Can you see how they themselves trying to speed up everything? They're trying to bring everything quick. You understand? He's so trying to make the plans, like they're trying to speed up this thing with they're trying to bring in the chip and so forth quick. They're trying to bring it in different angles. You see Elon Musk talking about it's time to switch what you did say the other day, but it's time to switch to more technological advanced stuff. It's time to get rid of the old stuff. And you see no quick they want to do things. We don't know is the Lord doing all these things? Is the Lord spraying the Spirit into them to do all these things? But they're showing it at the time that we're in. You understand? Because this devil knew he had but a short time. That is why they're shutting down certain places, they're killing the dollar, they're building FEMA camps, they're building the camps and so forth, because they know what it is they're coming to do. You understand? This, like, as an example is this. When you watch Esau movies, there's always show you the end of the world. Or the end of the kingdom. They always show you there, they're gonna get war, they're gonna get wiped, they're gonna get nuked. You understand? And they never have a reasonable answer for what going to happen after. You understand? There's always something else after that or sometimes the any movie and so forth. But in the scriptures, they tell us what is going to happen. Scriptures, we know what is going to happen. We know who is going to take in charge after that. Who rulership going to take place.
He's going to take control.
Yeah.
Apes, as the the movie planted the apes. The apes going to be the one in charge.
So you see, again, this is the time that we coming in too. You understand? So hey, well, anything else to add?
Yeah, precept.
Go ahead.
They Job 27. Start at verse 7. He said, let my enemies be as the wicked, and he that riseth up against me as the unrighteous. He said, for what is the hope of the hypocrite? Though he had gained, when Yahweh taketh away his soul. So he was in that time to rule. He gained through wickedness, deceit, and the Lord gonna take him out. It's gonna happen. If you can bring out if you can get Psalms 41:5.
Okay. Psalms chapter 41. Psalms 41. Right. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 41, verse 5. Right? It says, mine enemies speak evil of me. When shall he die? And his name perish.
Yeah, when this man going on dead, boy. And he name perish, his name is no more, boy.
Can.
You know, days what we waiting for. You know, if our Lord, you know, to make his appearance, deliver we out of the hands of the wicked. Right? And the name of Esau mean no more being remembered. To cut them off. Cut off that soul. That disease.
That oh God, we just call it that bad flesh.
Yeah. You know, let the earth gonna flourish, the earth gonna be at peace. Because when he be removed, that is when the earth gonna be at peace, the earth gonna be at rest. He saw us trouble and interfere with all kind of thing, everything, you know. They had to remove going and remove this man. Had to remove that plague, boy, that disease, boy.
That man had to go.
Yeah. He had to die. You know, he loves to shed blood, the blood gonna pursue him. He's out him, hey, wherewith a man sinneth, by the same he shall be punished.
That's right.
You know? Yeah. When he scripture talk about when he cease to spoil, when he looking to stop to cease, hey, he shall be spoiled. Yeah. Judgment, vengeance, gonna come upon all you descendants of Esau. You know, I ain't wanna say no white people, all white people, because they confusion of face. Right? But the descendants of Esau. Because Esau, you know, he can't hide he camouflaging in Jakes too. Because he got Jakes who is Edomites.
Yeah.
Who look like Jakes, but is Edomites.
I was telling I wasn't telling somebody that the other day, but something I was reading of people, and these Jakes so idiotic is that they believe everybody that black is of their own. Not knowing it's not so. They remember Esau will infiltrate your own. You understand? They would breed it over women. And it's a woman, it's a Jake woman who serve these fucking men. You understand? Give up the crutch for thing. You know, how they say they were a baby with nice hair. You understand? So it have these wicked Edomites who look like Jake. But they're not Jake. The bloodline is Edom. You understand? For example, we could just say off now, that's by watching our parents, which we know we do really well, but that's by our parents, right? Like, for example, is the twins. Remember sister? Remember that show long time, sister? The twins?
Yeah.
Tia and Tamori.
Tia and Tamara.
Tamara, right, yeah. Them father is a Edomite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He might look like Jake, but we don't know he could be a Jake. But they're saying when they watch it from the other look, their father is a Edomite. So it have some of them might look like you, but what's he saying? Not all skin folk is skin folk. You understand?
And I say, well, the spirit bear witness with our spirit.
That's right. That's why we do watch you out of our parents. You understand? But you're a man.
Okay.
Son. So hey, for anything else?
I said it.
Hey, so with that, once again, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. We see the apostles and elders of great most and the ruler, our teachers, our apostles in truth, and we see salutations for the accounts of the push on truth and say, and the out in the constantly in season or season, we say Shalom. Right? We say, hey, Mawatila Babel, Mawat to these two things, and some Mawat to these heathens, but to these sins say, Akeman and first we say Shalom.
Shalom.